Inside Out. Joining me now is Angela Carr Patterson, the Love Lifestyle Coach. She is also an author and motivational speaker. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Megan, for having me.
Now, when we talk about the new year, we usually talk about releasing the past, releasing the old, and moving forward. What are some good ways people can really visualize this new year moving forward?
Well, I think it's about getting clear on what it is that you want, who you want to be and what you want for the new year. And you get to decide. You get to make that choice. So oftentimes, especially women, we're conflicted. We're conflicted about in the direction of where we want to go because of what we've been conditioned and programmed and the things we've been conditioned and programmed to do and be. And I think right now we're starting to sense in that there's something that wants to emerge or someone who wants to emerge. And that's about connecting to the truth of who we are and really being authentic and saying, you know, that may be what I've been programmed and pulled to do, but now I want to be and do what I've been called to do.
So how do we get to the crux of who we really are?
That's about, sometimes circumstances happens, there's an emergency that will cause the real you to emerge, or then you can just reach what I call our defining moment. And my defining moment was when I was willing to let go of who I was and step into my power and become who I was born to be. I'd reached a point in life where life just was showing up in ways that wasn't pleasing to me. And I reached a fork in the road. I wasn't happy, wasn't satisfied with what was happening, and I understood that if it was to be, it was up to me. For things to change, I had to change. And so that started that path of what I call that journey to being.
Right. And you really had to make the decision to take charge of your life. You couldn't just sort of let life happen and sort of pass you by, but you had to take active steps to get to this true core of you. Absolutely.
You can either choose what you want, choose your path, or let it choose you. I say we can live life by choice or by chance. And I decided to live it by choice. Now, life is going to show up, but I get to choose how I respond to that.
Now, in this rediscovery process, I guess you could call it, were there things in your past that you realized were sort of holding you back?
Yes. As I started my journey, I realized that my father-daughter relationship had an impact on my life. I was a fatherless daughter, and I describe a fatherless daughter as a female who grew up with an absent, unavailable, or unattached father. Your father may have been home with you and just was unattached or unavailable. But for whatever reason, there's a missing key element in a girl's life, especially once she becomes an adult. And that particular issue was having a lot of impact on what I call the way I did love and the way I did money, because both of those things were tied to my value system.
Now, we have your books actually right here, and I found the fatherless daughter journey to be very personal. I mean, you didn't really leave anything to question, and you put it all out there. And one of the chapters I particularly enjoyed was being able to release what no longer serves you. So can you talk a little bit about that in terms of the fatherless daughter journey?
Yes. For me, I had to retrace my life beyond my mother's wound. I believe that our pain can never heal until we heal our misplaced sense of identity. And our behaviors and our actions, the way we view the world, what we call patterns, they tend to align with how we view ourselves and view other people and the world. And so my identity, I didn't really have an identity because a girl finds her identity through her father. When my parents separated and later divorced when my mother was pregnant with me. And so I realized that if I needed to really know who I was, then for me, it was about spirituality. So I was able to connect with something bigger than me. You can call them God, Jehovah, whatever, but just make sure you call and recognize that there's something bigger than you. So I began to find my identity in something that was larger than myself, and then began to allow these patterns to fall off and release them through forgiveness of myself, forgiveness of my father, forgiveness of who I thought I was, forgiveness of the people that I thought had hurt me.
And why is that forgiveness so important?
It is about letting go, because unforgiveness stops the flow of life in your world. And it's not about the other person. It truly is about you, letting go and releasing. It is a process. I've practiced forgiveness for so long, but I was just taking Iyanla's Vazant's forgiveness program. And she puts a whole nother spin on forgiveness. So it really is a process. You don't just forgive today and think that tomorrow is over. It's a process, and it's about releasing and letting go of the things and the thoughts and the behaviors that and the feelings that no longer serve you. See, the universe doesn't respond to our words. The universe responds to our feelings.
So when you were able to actually forgive, that was a daily process. You had to consciously think about that. Did you ever get to a point where that was no longer on your mind, where you felt like you really could be the true person that you are?
Absolutely. As I began to evolve and grow and expand, and there's no expiration date on this process. It is an ongoing process. But what I've learned is the skill sets that I needed to use to move and to break through those areas when I get stuck.
Right.
And I believe that there are 3 things you must have, and that's your spirituality, you need some strategies, and you also need a supporting cast.
And you talk about spirituality, and you did say in your book that the true source of love for you, you find it from God.
From God, absolutely. God is my source. I believe that God is not looking for a relationship, but God is looking for oneness with us. We are one with the divine, yes.
Right. And you did talk about this just briefly, but in one of your chapters you speak about reactivating your life. And obviously forgiveness is part of that, but how else does one reactivate?
That was, for me, that was about finding out what my true purpose was. You know, what was I born to do? We all have a purpose in life, and we can spend a lifetime discovering that, but what was I here to do? And I realized that I was here to teach people how to actualize the power of self-love, to create success in their life. Now, your purpose is what you was born to do. The vehicle that you use, people call it vision or whatever, that can change.
Right.
You know, the vehicle that you use, but the purpose, what are you here to do? Who are you here to be, and what are you here to do in the way of service?
Right. And then just why is it so important that we focus on ourselves? Because so many times we're so busy with our life, taking care of our families, taking care of our job, that we forget about ourselves. And so our cup is sort of left empty. Why is it important that we take that time to really focus on us?
Because I can't give from an empty cup. You know, I think that the overflow is for you, the full cup is for myself, and the empty cup serves no one. And I believe we hide. We hide behind, and a lot of times those of us who are in service business and serving others, we hide behind that.
Right.
Because if I spend my time busy with serving and doing and serving, I don't have to look within myself and face what's there.
What's missing.
What's missing. So we busy ourselves, we organize our lives around everyone else, and then we think we've done a service, but at the end of the day, we're hiding.
Angela, thank you for being with us. Great advice.
Thank you. Thank you.